Good morning, Friday morning. And here we are, Yoga Entrepreneur Secrets, and we're going over today, I say we, because I always say we, I am going over, John is here, he's just not in the camera, he's behind the camera, and I'm excited about this one, because for years and years, so we opened up Hot House Yoga in 2005. Now in 2005, the whole industry was totally different. I mean, this is now 15 years ago. And so, it was so new. What we were doing, yoga studios were still it was not super common to have yoga studios in the area, in the marketplace. It was beginning, but we were right on the cusp of this whole idea of yoga really exploding. And so we had the benefit of that because it was so new that just saying yoga was enough of what in the marketing world is called a pattern interrupt for people to be like, wait a second, yoga? What are you talking about? What is this thing that you call yoga? What are these postures? Let me check it out. But what we want to talk about today is what we did wrong back then, what we've learned since, and the power of understanding your who. So the whole training today is about who is your who. And to finish the story, back in 2005 when we started, we thought that yoga was for everybody. Now it's going to sound odd, because I truly believe yoga is for everybody. I believe wholeheartedly that there is a style of yoga in this world that's being taught in some community that people live in that is perfect for them to achieve the results they're looking for. I know it's true because I just believe wholeheartedly in the process and understand the value of what the service that we're providing as a yoga community. Now, what I also understand is what I do isn't for everybody. Back in the beginning, when we first started teaching, the way we would message to the market, to the people who we wanted to attract was, it's for everybody. So, hey, if you're this or if you're that, and if you're this person or that person, you've had this experience or that experience, then we want you to be here because we can help you. And what I mean is, in every single message, that's what we were saying. Whether we were broadcasting that on radio, whether we were broadcasting that on TV, whether we were broadcasting that in a local newspaper or magazine or rag, it was we would list all of the things that we thought we could help, which was basically a list of everybody that we could ever think about who has had any problem ever in their life that we thought yoga could help, and we would list it. And what happened, now, like I said, in 2005, just by saying we offered hot yoga, it was enough of okay, they list all these things, I may pick out one of those things for me, but I'm going to try it anyway. Now the market is so mature that doing that, people are no, that's not for me. Why? Because when you speak to everybody, you speak to nobody. And so what we want to really talk about today is understanding that your who it is that you want to serve is the very first thing we need to figure out as yoga entrepreneurs, whether you're in a yoga studio ownership role or whether you're just a solopreneur doing your thing and offering yoga at all the different places that you offer yoga. Regardless, we want to get really clear on who it is that we serve. And there's a process that John and I have learned that we're now teaching that has worked for us really, really well. And so we're going to take you through the process today. We've just done an advanced teacher training where we taught this in depth. This is going to be more of a 30,000 foot view. Let me give you some of the ideas. And so there's just not, I want to keep these trainings a little shorter. And so there's just not enough time to be able to dive into the real mechanics of this, but this should give you a good insight into okay, how am I marketing now? And is it effective, what I'm doing now? And can I make the tweaks understanding this that may help it be more effective? Because we want to reach the people who we know we want to serve. And so it starts by understanding who is your who. Now, we're saying who is your who because it's kind of catchy, but what we're really saying in the other way of looking at it is that who is your avatar or your ideal client. Now, why is it so important to figure that out? Because these are the people that you're going to be spending your time with, that you're going to be attracting into your world, and they're going to be the relationships that you form. And you want to make sure that the people that you're attracting are the people that you want to be with, that one, you can serve, and two, that are going to appreciate what it is that you're providing. Because we've been there where we had there's students who they weren't the right fit. I don't know how we attract, I don't know what message they heard that brought them in, but I knew this was not going to work out. And there was a period of time where we kept attracting the wrong students, and it was because the message we were sending was the wrong message, attracting the wrong people. So my first point is that why this is so important is that when I'm in business, now a business is a relationship that you're forming with the people that you're employing or you're employed by, and the people that are coming in that you're servicing. And so we want to make sure that the people that we are servicing are the people that we enjoy hanging out with and that we know we can help. So understanding this is really important because it's going to I want to be in this for the long haul, and I want to make sure that the people that are here, that I'm serving, that I'm seeing, that I'm communicating with, that I'm talking to, that I'm helping, are the people that I enjoy being around. That's just selfish, but it's also important for the thriving and the sustainability of your business. So let's start jumping into it. And what I want to talk about first is the three markets. The three markets are health, wealth, and relationships. Now, I don't care, we're talking about yoga because this is Yoga Entrepreneur Secrets, but anything that you, as a service that you provide, what you're really providing is one of these three things. Is it health? Is it wealth? Is it relationships? Now, what's interesting when I flip the page and what you'll see is that any service or product can be sold within health, within wealth, or within relationships, depending on the positioning. And so this is what I mean. Go to the other side. All right. Sorry about the size of it. It got a little small. Like Willy Wonka, when he gets down below, it's like you can't even read it. I kind of went that way with it. Anyway, so we have the market. You have HWR, health, wealth, and relationships. And for our purposes, because we're talking about yoga, the sub-market, so as you go down, you're like, okay, I'm in health, but my sub-market is yoga. Start getting more detailed as to what it is that you're actually providing. And as we go deeper, it's then who am I actually serving when I get deeper into this? And so market health, market wealth, market relationship. The sub-market, as you go deeper, is okay, for us, let's just say it's yoga, right? Generally, yoga for each one. Now, this is what's cool is that we think, and you may think this too, and it may be true for you and what you provide, that yoga, if you just look at it for the face value of it, it's health. Of course, people are coming in, they're getting stronger, they're getting more flexible, right? They're getting the mental benefit of conscious movement and conscious breath, which is then helping them, the mental clarity that's created, right? You could even say that it's helping the relationship with themselves. Because if you look at the deep and the core of what yoga is, it's our sense of self that we're correcting in the totality of what yoga offers. So what's so cool is that yoga can actually be sold or positioned in the health market, in the wealth market, or the relationship market. And what I mean is when you get to your niche, I may decide that I want to serve people with post-traumatic stress disorder, right? And so that puts me squarely in the health market because they are unhealthy mentally from a past traumatic experience, and I want to help serve them so that they can be free of the PTSD. Now, we're still in yoga, and I could say, you know what? My niche, I'm a business coach. And so I want to help yoga studio owners or yoga entrepreneurs or online yoga businesses to make more money. And so you could be in the yoga business sub-market, you could be a business coach and be totally helping people make more money in the wealth market. I hope this is making sense because all of a sudden what you think you're providing, you may realize, oh, you know what? I have a different niche. I'm pretty sure the people I'm talking to right now is we're going to be squarely in the health and maybe a little bit in the relationships. But this is important just to understand the framework so that you can find out where your positioning is and then understand who it is that you want to serve. So this is the beginning framework that's going to help us get to that who. Now, I could also say in relationships, I teach yoga, but I teach yoga for marriages, right? I am a couples relationship yoga expert. And that may be true. You may have gotten your training and it's all around relationships. You may have been a therapist and then you got your yoga certification. You find the blend, this beautiful blend of what yoga can do for relationships and use your therapy sessions and create this beautiful experience for people that helps them with relationships, right? So it's really cool to see understanding the market, understanding your sub-market and where you fit is going to start really giving you more clarity as to who it is that you're serving. Now, you may be saying whoa, that's a lot of information. How do I know? Well, what we always say and what we teach is the start point is to look at your story. What brought you to yoga? What were you struggling with that you wanted to resolve that yoga, then you found yoga and yoga helped you experience it so much so that you're you know what? I'm becoming a teacher and I want to serve because I want to help people go through and get past what I've gone past. I want to share it with others. And then I want to do it so much so that I'm opening up a yoga studio and I'm going to get people coming through the doors, right? And so once you have that story in mind, what's so powerful about that is then you're then going to craft who you want to serve around that. Now, it may not be your story. So we were doing that, start in the beginning, the advanced teacher training that we were doing like 2 weekends ago. There's a woman there who she's serving the PTSD community. Now, she didn't have it herself, but she was a member of the military. And the people that she saw within the military, her team and her peers within that community, she saw suffering. And so what she wanted to do was help those people. And funny enough, there was another gentleman who actually had the experience of PTSD, was in the war and came back and was struggling with it, and yoga helped him. So we have two people like serving the market of people with PTSD. Now, what's really interesting is both of them are in the military, but as you go into it, so let me finish the point. Part one of them was like, this is my story. I use yoga to overcome my struggles with PTSD. And the other one was like, I didn't have it, but I am called to serve that community because I was part of the community and I see them struggling. And now I know what I have as a gift of yoga can help them. And so, but my point is still, part of your story is going to be the people that you want to serve, whether it is your story specifically or a story of somebody in the community that has called you to serve. Now, next level, this is where we're really getting into the nitty-gritty is, so let's just use this, PTSD, yoga, and health as the example. There's various types of people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, right? In the example I just gave, part of that demographic is veterans who have been to war and have come back and they're struggling. Another aspect of that is first responders who every single day are putting their lives on the line and going into just unconscionable scenarios where their fight or flight system is like fired every single day. And that repetitive experience, whether it's just one horrible experience or just the repetition of that, it just fires up the brain to be constantly on guard, right? And so they may be the type of person that you want to serve. Or people that have domestic violence in their past, that have struggled to overcome that. So even within the post-traumatic stress community of this type of niche that you want to serve, there are various types of people. Now, this is what's important. As a service, what you're providing for that specific person, the solution, the yoga, the product that you're putting together isn't necessarily going to change between veterans, first responders, or domestic violence people. But the way in which you attract those people must be different because the message I'm talking to a veteran about is not going to be the same message I'm talking to someone who's experienced domestic violence. So understanding your who crafts the message so that you can attract them. Attract them, meaning, hey, are you struggling with this? I have a solution. I've either been there or I've helped people get past what you're experiencing. And then they're like, yes, I want to be past this. And they say, help me. And you're like, yes, I can help you. And then all of a sudden you've attracted your who because you understood where your niche was, where they were, meaning what was their story. And then you told a story in relationship to what they experienced, meaning your message to attract them because you related to them in an honest and authentic way. I hope this is making sense. This is so important. And so let me take it back to yoga studio owners because we have a lot of those in the group. So the yoga studio example is for most of us, I know there's anomalies here, but let's just make a big sweeping generalization and say most of yoga studio owners, they're in the health market with the submarket of yoga and its general terms. And like for us, this is our example. Our niche is hot yoga. Within that submarket, we teach hot yoga. Everything we do, we turn on the heat and we do these two styles of yoga. Now, this niche for some of you may be Anusara, maybe Iyengar, maybe Ashtanga. That may be your thing. Some of you may have a studio where you're like the institute, where I do kind of everything all the time. There's some challenges to that, but we'll talk about it. So within that, I then have to know, like, this niche isn't enough for me to know who that is. I have to get into saying, like, okay, in my story, in my experience of what yoga did for me, who is it that I really serve? And my story is one of, initially, it was pain. I was in martial arts, physically in pain from the intense training that I was doing, and yoga helped me alleviate that. And so I look at this and I'm like, oh, I can speak to people who have body pain. And they may not have the relationship of martial arts. That may not be the trigger of it. It may be aging. But I can still speak to the solution, the result that you can get from practicing at our studio in relationship to being out of pain. What I also know is I went through a period, right, like as a business owner, as a father, as a husband, there are stressors in life that trigger me every single day. And I know this practice helps me manage and alleviate that stress. Now, the other third part, and I'll talk about the broader, so this is my example, and we actually have a what's called a funnel right now for our introductory package, and it's John's story of his acute stress disorder that happened because of martial arts. So not only physical pain, but stress, and how yoga helped alleviate from it. And so he tells his story on this landing page that encourages people to hear what he's saying, to relate to what he's saying, and then potentially come in, buy a 2-week unlimited to come in and try out to get the same result. So it's so important. All of a sudden, we have a message that we know who we're talking to from our own experience or a person in our lives' experience who we're called to serve. And then we present that message within a story, understanding what John talked about last time, vehicle, internal and external false beliefs that the story helps to alleviate. So what we've done, the studies that we've found is that there are 3 big reasons why people come to yoga, right? So whether it's hot yoga, whether it's Anusara, when they think of yoga in the broadest terms, what they're looking to alleviate, the results they're looking for is stress relief, alleviation of body pain, and they want some type of alternative wellness. Meaning the gym isn't doing it for them anymore, running's not doing it for them anymore, and they need something different that's going to help them get the result they want, whether it's aging, then fighting the effects of aging, whether it's just keeping the body in shape, or whatever it is, flexibility. So alternative wellness, the other thing is in that is flexibility. So when I go back to the story I told in the beginning, in 2005, what we were doing was in every single one of these, hey, want to get flexible? Do you have back pain? Is life really stressing you out? And if you have one of those, but you see the others, what it says is, well, that's not really me. But when I now say, hey, are you stressed? Here's the story of my stress and how this hot yoga experience helped me. And that's it. That's the only message they get, because then I know who to target, because I know who my who is. My point with this is I then may have a different message to people with body pain. Now, again, it may not be my physical body pain story, but it may be someone who I've helped give the result that they're looking for. We have a friend who we've known for a long time. He came in with severe back pain. Well, he loves to surf, and he wasn't able to surf. It was literally like the passion that he's most excited about in life, he wasn't able to do. He's come in, and now he's surfing. He has a house in Nicaragua, and he's planning on retiring early and going and living there. And he was given that opportunity because of what hot yoga gave him, the relief of his back pain. That's a powerful story. If someone has that and they feel how back pain has been debilitating them in their life, and it's taking away the passions that they have, like the joy of living, that story is going to connect with them. But it wouldn't connect with them if I also added, and are you stressed? And would you like to be more flexible? See, my point is, when you understand your niche and you understand your who may be varied. Like in the yoga studio example, that's why I wanted to outline this, is that I'm not going to devote all of my effort necessarily and say my whole yoga studio is devoted to body pain. You may choose to do that, but what we know is that there are these 3 types of people, and if I understand those 3 types of people and I understand what they're dealing with, I can tell a story from people who we've worked with, or our own story, that can help attract them and get them to come in so they can achieve the same result that the story has told them, that we've experienced. So what we're really saying is niche marketing. Some of you have that very specific thing. I know my sister who's in this group, she wants to serve people with special needs. That is a very specific thing where she may not be in this stress, body pain, alternative wellness arena. She knows exactly, and it's a very specific type of person that she's going to craft her entire studio, her entire business around serving that population. That may be it, but for us as a yoga studio owner, I'm not focusing completely on one of these. I'm sending different messages to each one of those people to attract them. And what happens in that, meaning I'm paying for ads, is I'm paying for information. Did that message work? It doesn't mean it's the wrong message. I may have just relayed it in the wrong way. The story may not have landed right. I may have put it in the wrong format. The headline may be off. I may be like missing the target within, if you're doing Facebook ads. So what's really important is you got to test it. And we've been doing this for 15 years and we've tested a lot. And that's why I can say confidently, stress, body pain, and alternative wellness. Now, who's got stress? Parents have stress. Moms have stress. Business owners have stress. So then in that, I want to focus my attention on stress related to business owners. I can relate to them because I own a business, right? I can relate to parents because I'm a parent. You see what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden, how even within this, there are these little sub-markets of people that you can attract. This is so important as a yoga studio owner because wherever you land within the niche of what you do, understanding who you want to serve and understanding the story that got them to where they are allows you to send messages that relates to them, that attracts their attention and hopefully brings them into your atmosphere, your orbit, so that you can serve them. The last thing is, whatever this is, you got to make sure you deliver on it, right? For us, we know that the methodology that we use within Hot House Yoga and what we teach in Yak Yoga Concepts and the teacher trainings, it works. It works because we've been doing it for 15 years and we have the results, the social proof of people who have been practicing with it that long, and they've given us testimonials as to, man, it's changed everything and how I relate to stress and the stresses of my life. It's totally like our friend I've got zero back pain and this is the place that's done it for me, right? So my point is, if you're an institute of yoga, are you sure that the classes that are being delivered to your students are giving them the experience that you're promising? Because what we're really saying with these, when you get down to your who, is you're giving them a promise of some result. And just make sure that you're delivering on it. That's the most important thing. So that was a lot, and I'll try to condense it and keep it short, but I hope it was helpful. I know there was a couple questions. All right, Karen, you said how to figure out why you're marketing to a certain type. What makes you want to market to them? It's a great question. So why you're marketing to a certain type? It goes back to your story. Why are you marketing to a certain type? Like the bigger why is that's the only way your marketing is going to be effective. You have to know who you're talking to. If you don't know who you're talking to, then you have no idea how to craft the message, which is really just wrapped up in a story of someone's struggle, the solution for the result, and then the achievement and the transformation that they experience. So the why is, this is like how you broadcast, the way in which you broadcast your message. If you don't know who you're talking to, then you don't know how to speak to them. Now, as far as so that was why would you choose one person versus another? Well, I would always say, just go back to your story. Who do you want to serve based on what you feel called to do for them? So it's, so for me, it's like, I know the power of yoga because of how it helped me experience like a pain-free body and a stress-free mind, right? Funny enough, that's like 2/3 of the reasons why people come in. Now, I want to serve those people. I may decide I want to serve those people who are stressed, who are parents, who I feel super called to, because I know the reality of when you're stressed, what happens and how you treat your children is way different than when you're like, your mind is free and you feel good and you're joyful about the experience of living. And so the why is really like, who do you feel called to serve? And why would you want to serve them? Because you have this heartfelt desire to make real lasting change in their lives. That's why we start with, what is your story? Why did you get into yoga? Why are you teaching it? What was your experience? Or what was the experience that you had living where you were introduced to someone who is this type of demographic of person who now you want to serve because you feel so called? It's got to spark. Why is because it has to spark passion. If you're in this for the long haul, if you really want to be like have longevity in this business, who you're serving has got to resonate with you deeply. Because at the end of the day, it's like the value that you provide is what causes the money to come in. But that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because you feel this heartfelt desire to serve this person, to give them a result so that they live a more passionate and purposeful life. That's why this is so important, is because you're like narrowing down and getting super excited and passionate so that you can be within the struggle of what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it means to be a studio owner, and all of the fires that come up. And you have this it's literally the fuel to keep you going every single day because you feel so passionate about serving that person or that demographic or that group of demographic of the people that you know were going to come in and that you can really help. That's the reason. That's the why. So if there are any questions after the fact, if you're watching this as a replay, please put them in. Let's keep this as an ongoing conversation, and we're going to keep delivering. So next week, we have another live training on Friday, and please join us. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Yes. Thanks so much for listening to Yoga Entrepreneur Secrets. Do you have a question that you'd like us to answer raw and uncut on the podcast?
If you want your questions answered, all you need to do is head over to Apple Podcasts and do 3 simple things.
1, rate and review, telling us what you think of the podcast. 2, in that review, ask anything you want related to yoga. And 3, if you want a shout out, leave your Instagram handle or name. And that's it.
Then listen in to hear your question answered live, raw, and uncut.
Join us next time on Yoga Entrepreneur Secrets Podcast.
Thanks.